Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast. We're ready to go with another show for you with stuff from me and from our contributors, and we're hoping, we know that right now, all over the world, that things are shut down and people are stuck at home, but we hope that the Dice Tower, is a beacon of hope for you, or at least an escape that you can come to where we just talk about games. To that end, we have been doing, if you haven't noticed, we're doing Dice Tower chats at night, where we're doing a live chat around 9 o'clock. It's not going to always be the same time because things will change, of course, but come on board, just look for when those are scheduled. Come on and just talk to us. We're having a good time. Sometimes it's someone else, often it will be me. I might have somebody with me. It's just going to be a fun time, and we hope that you are there for that. To that end, we'll see what happens, but we have a lot of different things, and you know what? This show's going on, so let's get it started. So today I'm not talking about a specific website, but I want to talk about the fact that there is a lot of online gaming. I've been getting a ton of questions about this, and people asking me to spotlight different places on the internet where you can play against other people. And I know some of them by name, like Board Game Arena and Board Game Simulator, and there's all these different things. I don't know that many of them. I have not played many games online, but I know that this is a possibility. I am so thrilled that these days we have the abilities to, at lowest technology, I suppose, I could Skype someone, we both set a board game, we both play and talk to each other. That's very possible, right? So there's a lot of different things, and so I would love if you go to Dice Tower forums, either on our Facebook group or in the Board Game Geek, where we have our forums there, or maybe even in the comments below, and just tell people about great places that you found. Let's spread the word. If you want to play gaming with people online, whatever it might be, whatever the website is, here is a good chance for us to tell each other and to learn from one another. This is not an area I'm an expert in, but it is an area that other people do it. Some people use just the built-in function on apps. Some people, like I said, are just talking to each other while playing the game. There are many different things, and here's our chance to tell people. So go to our forums and tell folks about it, and this way, during this time, we can still all play games together.
Hi everyone! I'm so excited to share you this game, King of Tokyo Dark Edition, coming out. Hi, it's Stella. I just got this amazing advanced copy of King of Tokyo Dark Edition. This one is one of the games that started me board gaming and still getting played. These days, yes, we play more heavier strategy games, but we still play King of Tokyo for fillers and to play with our non-board gamer friends. So what is in this Dark Edition? The main mechanics are the same. Besides the striking, cool, dark color box and artwork, there is a wickedness track on the right side of the board. Whenever you roll 3 1s or 3 2s, you get to advance on this track. When you reach 3, 6 or 10, you get to pick a tile that gives you bonus. Mostly permanent, but some of them are temporary and once-off bonus. Things like gain 1 extra die roll each turn, or double all of your attack, or buying power cards cost you 1 energy less. And even more exciting stuff, the chunky transparent dice and 3D energy tokens. So pretty! So let's take a look more of the components. I'll have my review video and one-run playthrough video on Meeple University channel soon, so do check that out if you want to see more. Well, thanks for watching. We are on the Dice Tower How to Play videos and Pocket Playthrough videos, and Meeple University on YouTube. See you next time!
So what did we add to the library this week? Well, I don't have any games to show you because what's happening right now, I want to talk a little bit about the library, is it's undergoing a major rehaul. Now that we have the library back in, what we're doing is we're taking the games and we're determining which games are going to be pulled from the library. So some games are getting pulled because they just never get played, and I have to make the call. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play this game. No one played it at Dice Tower West. It's probably not going to get played, so I pull those. But I also have duplicate copies of games. So, for example, I had 2 copies of Alien Frontiers. I had 2 copies of Robinson Crusoe. They're both great games. They both got played at Dice Tower West, but they both got played just a few times, meaning 1 copy is enough. So by pulling a copy of each of those, I then have room to add more stuff because we're consistently adding new games to the library. We're also opening up all the games and checking them to see if the components have fallen all over the place, to see if bags have broken or what have you. And this is going to be a long process, but interestingly enough, we have a decent amount of time right now to do it. We also got a 3D printer here at the office where we'll be able to print 3D upgrades and stuff for games. So as we print out the different things, well, first we got to set the whole thing up. Roy Canaday, he's going to help put that together. We might take a video and show what that's like as we put all that stuff together. So that's what's really being added to the library this week. I don't have any games to show you, but stuff is going in the library. A few of the things that I reviewed over the last week will probably go in. We'll talk more about that in the future.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, well, today we're going to be talking about Fox in the Forest. This is a 2-player-only trick-taking game. All right, so growing up in the Midwest, we played a lot of trick-taking games. I love that family of games. But one thing I have not come across is a good 2-player trick-taking game.
Yeah, did you really grow up in the Midwest if you don't know how to play euchre?
Yes, it's possible.
I don't know. I felt the same way when I heard about this 2-player trick-taking game. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But it's incredible. They did a really great job with it. They did this. There's really good tension in this game. The pull that happens with this game with how many tricks you want to take and how many tricks you don't want to take. I was really impressed.
Yeah, the card art is really fun in this game. I think there's a lot of cool special abilities on those cards as well, which gives it that nice flavor. But also, along with that card art thing, in tandem with this game, they also made kind of a fairy tale, kind of a backdrop for the setting of this game. There's this hunter's daughter. She goes on these adventures. She meets these different characters and animals along the way, and so those animals and those characters show up in the game as the card art, which is really cool. All right, so to flip things around a little bit, just how the hunter's daughter went on an adventure, we want you guys to go on an adventure with us.
Yeah, there's this really neat app called Habitica, and it helps you build up habits. You have this avatar, and every day that you complete the habits that you're trying to do for yourself, then your avatar gains strength, and it gains hearts, and you can get things for it. It's really fun, but if you don't do your habit, then it loses hearts. Ugh.
All right, so if you want to see our full review of Fox in the Forest, as well as to hear about how you can join us on our party so we can defeat these monsters together, be sure to check us out on Facebook or on YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, well, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany, hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Guys.
Hi folks, I'm Andy from Potable Gaming and welcome to a very quick review of the Aircon Gaming Convention in Harrogate in the northeast of England that I attended last weekend. I had a fantastic time. So I've not really been to many cons, only really this and UK Games Expo last year. And whereas I really enjoyed UK Games Expo, this kind of big, flashy, showy number, Aircon was a much more kind of sedate family affair. And honestly, that was probably more what I'm really looking for in a games convention when I think about it. I had a really great time just playing games, which I didn't really get to do much of when I think about it at the Games Expo last year. The place had a handful of exhibitors, so a couple of good stores selling games, some brand new games that I haven't really seen anywhere else, which was quite exciting, a few demo points, and a really, really solid library. Also an amazing and kind of intimidating bring and buy sale, where there was a lot of games, and we bought a lot of games, to be quite honest. But honestly, what a fantastic time we had. And the place was just great. The vibe, the energy, the whole place. Everybody just really wanted just to play games, to hang out. I saw nobody being sort of angry or aggressive. I saw no one being upset. Everyone just having a nice time. We made friends. We made a few friends. We met Phil, Lisa, Martin, Erwin. Erwin taught us Barrage, which was a very intense experience, I'm not going to lie. It took us about 6 hours to learn and play that game to completion. But my word, what a 6 hours. Even if I don't think I've fully regained my ability to speak since then. It really melted my brain. But I had such a great time with it. And we played loads of other great games and such a great time. So loads of great shows. And honestly, I love it. All being well, Aircon will be running again next year. And if you're in the area, if you're in the UK, you want to try out a really friendly, just fun games convention, I highly recommend you get yourself to Harrogate and try out Aircon. Anyway, as always, folks, normal service will resume. I've been Andy, and it's your round.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'm going to continue to be going through my series of games that changed my life. I've done, I think, 8 of them so far. We got 12 more to go, so I'll be putting out 4 of those this week. I hope that you enjoy them. I like making them. I'm also going to be reviewing several games, a bunch of roll and write style games, the expansions for dominations, so just a couple things that we're doing in that regard, just taking a look at these various things. We have a top 10 list that we've already recorded, top 10 games I hate, with me, Z, and Jeremy. This is more silly than not. Hopefully you don't, we're not, like I said, we're trying to make this show a positive force, but this is more like these are games that get us working. We had a great time doing it, and we hope you come and watch that. And other than that, we'll see. We might do some live gaming here from the studio, or if not, like I said, every night we got our Dice Tower chat where you can come on board and talk to us there. So that's what we got scheduled for this week. Let's keep moving.
Hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around a Table, and this is The Secret Life of Board Games, where I talk to board game creators and ask them to reveal the Easter eggs they've hidden in their games. Race for the Galaxy is a card game by designer Tom Lehman, and it should come as no surprise to you that Tom is a gigantic nerd, like many of us. He's a fan of sci-fi authors David Brin and Fred Pohl, and so he and the artists of the game, Martin Hoffman and Klaus Steffen, have conspired to hide references to those two authors throughout the base game and its expansions. Wherever you see Uplift, it's a reference to Brin's Uplift stories. The Arboreal Uplift race card pays homage to Brin's Uplift War cover. Stories by sci-fi author John Varley are referenced by this robot on the Alien Rosetta Stone card, these blaster gems, and this Deep Space Symbionts Limited card. The Scientific Cruisers card might call to mind a certain enterprising ship, and the Rebel Cantina card is an obvious reference to a well-known watering hole on Tatooine. Careful, buddy, you're going to lose that arm. This Alien First Contact team is a reference to the poster for the movie The Right Stuff, which is based on this photo of NASA's Mercury 7. The movie is based on the book by Tom Wolfe, and the book, of course, is all about the Mercury 7 and the US's first manned spaceflight program. The Galactic Homefront card is a reference to Rosie the Riveter and the women who manufactured munitions during World War II. Would you like to know more? Join me on my channel, Knights Around a Table.
Happy breakfast, everyone. This week I'm going to talk to you about this heavy game. Now that's in sort of weight, not complexity, because it's a big game. That's Big City. It's the 20th anniversary edition, or a jumbo edition, from Mercury Games. Generally, for the game, you've got a hand of 5 cards. You're going to be playing one of those, 2 or 3 of those cards to sort of build in an orthogonal area. The best part, however, that makes it a really intriguing and interesting game to play is the least thematic part. So at the end of each round, you are forced to play at least one card into some sort of trade between players. So the way it works is from highest score to lowest, so whoever's in the lead, they must play a card, or at least one, face up or face down. Everyone then does this. Then, starting with the person with the lowest score that's got face up cards, they can choose from what's available in terms of those cards that have just been played and take them into their hand for the next round. What I don't like about the game is the fact that this sort of hour-long experience, maybe an hour and a little bit, is, for recommended retail price at least, only £5 cheaper than Gloomhaven. But the game itself is really good, I do need to stress that. It's fun to play, it's just not quite worth that much, I believe. Anyway, that's Big City, some positives, some negatives, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Today I want to talk about echo chambers, and not necessarily in the way that you might think. A lot of people, when they talk about echo chambers, talk about someone's views on life or political views. I'm going to talk about board game echo chambers, and sometimes specifically playgroup echo chambers. And I've talked about this before, but it's just something that came to mind because sometimes I'll say that a game is fantastic. Like, pick any game, right? Blood Rage. I'll say Blood Rage is great. And someone will say to me, not only do I not like this game, but everyone I know doesn't like it. How can anyone like this game? Everyone I've talked to has not enjoyed it. And what happens is, instead of echo chamber, groupthink, a very similar thing, comes into play, where people of all of a like mind will get together and do something, and you tend to all like it or dislike it. And that's, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it just is something that tends to happen. There's probably psychological terms for it, but it does happen. And sometimes we have to realize that just because of my groupthink doesn't mean that there's a lot of people who differ than me about that, and they just may not be in my group. I've seen people say, I've never even seen it. But again, our world of expanding is only so big. So, for example, I remember when I first played the DC deck builder from Cryptozoic, and I hated it. Still not a big fan of it. And I was like, man, everyone I played it with said it was bad too. I think it's bad. How is it selling? But as I left my group and moved around and saw conventions and saw at different game stores people really having a good time with it, and I distinctly remember taking the game to a local comic convention and demoing it there as a part of a group of games I was demoing, and how positive that was and the reactions, I realized that yes, I didn't like it, and my disliking of the game probably affected some of the people, and they disliked it, and we kind of was a joint experience together, did not necessarily represent everyone else's opinions and such on that game. So with all that being said, I think sometimes we have to think that, you know, like obviously this game's extremely popular. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's only popular where I'm at. Or obviously, you know, this game is a flash in the pan. Maybe it was only a flash in the pan amongst those. And I understand that, you know, and the groupthink, to me, that's one problem with it. The other groupthink is when there is a specific way to play a game. When you play a game and everyone says, this is the way to play it, and someone new comes in the group and it throws them off because, well, this is how you play this game. I ran into this with Resistance, where someone says, well, if the first person says this, the second person's obviously supposed to say this, and they don't know what to say, and people kind of sneer at them or frown at them and say, come on now, this is how we do it here. Or in our group, we always play with our cards this, and no one riffle shuffles. Actually, shuffling was what put it in my mind, because I think it's interesting how when I riffle shuffle, Magic the Gathering players will go, oh, you're hurting me doing that, and no one riffle shuffles and everything, because that's in the Magic the Gathering community. The way they shuffle cards is a different way, and everyone does it that way in that community. While you go to poker, they're definitely shuffling and riffle shuffling. That's how they do it in their, you know, they're not sitting there sleeving all their cards and stuff. And so we have to be very cautious sometimes that just because we think very strongly about a certain thing, and a lot of people around us do, that it not necessarily goes across into other groups. At the same time, there are things about Magic the Gathering, I look at them and go, you're shuffling the cards in your hand. You sleeve cards and you act like not sleeving them is a crime. And I look at that and go, that's stupid. But if I'm going to be going into that culture and playing games with those folks, maybe I need to learn that. I learned in my life going into another culture and dealing with the differences in culture. Well, in gaming culture, sometimes I have to learn to give way too, and not necessarily realize that my insular gaming group is the only way to do something. Groupthink.
Hi, we're Board Game Opinions. I'm Amy.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Mark.
And this is our Cafe Play segment. We're going to have a look at what's really popular in the cafe at the moment and discuss why it's popular. Today we're looking at Century Spice Road.
The classic. It's an evergreen game, really, isn't it?
It really
Yeah,
is.
it's hit that sort of level now, especially with the Girlham edition.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. But honestly, we probably get the most requests for just the classic version over any of the others, or any... People don't tend to want to expand a lot on that. I think that base copy is just so integral, well-worn and well-known about now, that people who haven't played it think of a title and think, brilliant, yes, have you got that?
Because I was chatting to you about this earlier. You were saying that people, even if they've played the base game a lot, and you might say, oh, do you want to try like the next level up? And they're like,
no, we're happy, thank you. And I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, it just hits that sweet spot,
Yeah.
I think, for a lot of people. It's really simplistic, it's easy to play. Not everyone has to focus 100% all the time. You can kind of wait until it gets around to your turn to think, oh, quick, okay, yep, I'm doing this, this, and this.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It's a quick, easy teach. The component's quite nice. The art's quite nice.
Very.
Quick turns, as in I'm in and then I'm in again.
Yeah.
Within a minute later, there's no downtime essentially because everything's just bam, bam, bam.
Quick setup as well.
Yeah,
I think quick setup is really essential to a really popular cafe game.
See, I've always preferred this one to the other ones, even though generally I prefer heavier games. If you ask me which of the 3 century games I want to play, I'd rather just have the first one, play it quickly, and then play something heavier, if you like, a proper heavy game afterwards. But it's what you like, I guess.
Absolutely. All right, we've been Board Game Opinions, and that was our Cafe Play segment featuring Century Spice Road. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Doug Jr. with Doug and Doug Gaming, and as I promised, Doug the Third will be back. Looks like it's going to be another week because the situation has changed. Things have been a little wacky this last week, as I'm sure it has been with you. Sometimes we have to play those games that maybe we can play with 2 people. First of all, this is a nice one that we enjoy playing around here. This is Herbaceous. This is a wonderful game. It plays well with 2 people. It does play up to 4 people, but we have definitely enjoyed playing this one. And if you've never tried it, it's a little bit like Biblios, if you're familiar with that. Great game though, works good with 2 people. Also, Lost Cities. This one is particularly geared for 2 people. In fact, that's all it plays. And it's also a great game that's a lot of fun if you only have a couple of people to play with. Also, this one came out recently, Blitzkrieg, and this one advertises itself as being World War II in 20 minutes, and it really is. It's a good game to play. Only plays 2 people, but we have really enjoyed this one. And some games that weren't necessarily designed for 2 people, but we have played with 2 many times. My wife and I particularly enjoy Wingspan. Plays great with 2 people, and we just have a good time. It plays a little quicker with 2 than it does with 4 or 5, but it plays strategically. You can still try your same strategies and things that you would normally do. So for now, that's all I have for you. Again, I just want to encourage you to stay positive. Thank you to the Dice Tower staff for doing that and for bringing a little joy and laughter into our lives. And this is just a great hobby to be a part of, and you're a great person to be a part of this hobby, and it's just like family. So thanks so much for watching this episode of A Fellowship of Meeples. We will be back next week to see you then. So until then, have a great breakfast.
That's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Stay safe, everyone. Stay tuned to our channel. Spread the word about the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund. We started the auction for it last week. It's on Board Game Geek now. It's a good way to sell games that maybe you don't need anymore, and the money raised for them will go and help people. We're definitely having more people applying to the fund at this point in time. This is a way we can help other people, and this is a main way that we raise money for it. And even if you can't give money, and I understand a lot of people can't right now for sure, spread the word about it. Tell people who can. And it's just another way that we can help one another. Thanks so much for watching Board Game Breakfast, folks. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.